Bom dia, Portugal, tudo bem? This is cheap fixer-uppers in central Portugal. Who are they for, and should you buy one? Let's check it out.
Easy good, easy good, easy good, easy good. Wicked. It's Portuguese good.
Alright, before we get started, I noticed that many of you who enjoy my content still haven't gotten around to subscribing. It costs you nothing to subscribe, but it really helps me out. So go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Go on, smash it. And if you don't...
That's ignorant.
Alright, let's get into it. So here we are. You can see right in front of me is one of the houses that I did a video on a couple of months ago. This house is on the market for, I think it was on for 30,000. I think I said in the video you could probably get it for about 20 or 25,000. I'm just going to go for a little walk around my village, Travanca de Lagos, here in central Portugal, and show you a few of the properties that are on the market. Some of them I've made videos about previously, and some I haven't. This one here, I haven't. How rude of him to go through the middle of my video. I haven't made a video on this one. This one's on the market for 27,500. I'm probably going to make a video about this in the next week, so watch this space. And yeah, it looks very nice from outside. I understand that inside it does need a lot of work, but what do you expect at that price point, guys? Right across the road here from the church, the village car park, and all the amenities that Travanca doesn't have to offer. It's my little joke. All we have really here is a cafe and the place that sells gas and gas appliances, and of course the church, But anyway, that's one of the reasons that we like to live here in a quiet village. So to explain why I'm making this video, yesterday I put a video up about a house that I made a video on several months ago in Miranda de Corvo, about 30 minutes outside of Coimbra. Another sort of cheap fixer-upper. And I got the usual sort of comments on my videos by people who kind of miss the point. I think, with respect to those people, I understand why they make these comments, but I heard comments like, oh, well, by the time you've finished spending money doing it up, you would have been better off just buying a new place, or, you know, this sort of comment anyway, you'll overcapitalise and this kind of thing. And believe it or not, I kind of agree. This is another one that's on the market, by the way. This one's on, I think, for 25,000. Now, this one here, I made a video previously about it. I think I called it 2 houses for 20,000, and this one's actually sold now. Someone's moved in there. So I think people kind of miss the point. Let me give you a bit of background into how I got into researching these kind of, bom dia. How I got into researching these kind of cheap central Portugal houses. When we first came to Portugal, we rented in the Algarve for about a month, very quickly realised that that wasn't where we wanted to live. Moved up to the Silver Coast, which was a little bit more suited to us, and we were renting there. We rented there for about a year. Eventually found out we didn't like it there either for various reasons. Nothing against Nazaré, but we just found that in summer it was just way too overcrowded, and in winter it was like a ghost town. And what we found is that we were actually venturing inland more and more into the centre of Portugal to use the river beaches, to enjoy cheaper cafes and eating out and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I think in Nazaré we were paying something like 800 euros a month on rent, which presumably would have gone up year on year. So I've heard that similar places are now renting for about 1,200 euros per month. And what had happened, I'd started thinking we might like to buy somewhere. So I went to the bank, and for various reasons they said I would probably have to come up with a 40 or 50% deposit. That would have priced me out of Nazaré anyway. And we started looking into towns like Alcobaça, which is about half an hour inland from Nazaré. And there, for anything, yeah, it was still going to be quite expensive. And anyway, cut a long story short, we found ourselves going right into the centre of Portugal. And we had a look at a few houses here. And that's when I realised that we could actually, rather than take a mortgage, we could buy a place that was livable for even under 20,000 euros. Things have changed a little bit. It's getting harder. You can still find them. I don't normally like to put a figure on what I paid for my house, and I'm kind of going to do that for the first time, which is I paid 12,000 euros for my house. Now it's getting harder to find them for under 20. It can still be done if you keep looking, and I can help you if you're interested. And but more realistically, a budget of 25 to 30,000 seems more reasonable. And the type of house I'm talking about, guys, is not a house that's in ruin, but a house that needs a lot of work done to bring it up to the sort of standard that most Western people, I suppose, but that's not probably fair either. First world. I'm going to use that, and I know that's going to be insulting to some people, but I think you know what I mean. Let's say middle class, first world, middle class and above standards are used to. It's going to take some money. So who are these videos for? Who am I making these videos for about these properties? Right, well, the first thing I want you to get out of your head, unless I say otherwise, because some of these properties are good for investors, but that's not what these houses are for. I'm not showing these houses as being good for investors. In fact, I think if you're an investor who wants to buy a house for doing up, renovating and selling or renting out, you're better off buying a box. You're better off buying a house that's got no roof, no windows, no doors, anything, just a complete empty shell. These houses that I'm showing in these videos are more for people who don't have a lot of money, but who want to buy a house and live in it kind of as it is. Get in there, clean it up, and then have no mortgage, no rent, you know, and live a kind of more simple life. So for me, I'm that kind of guy. Listen to me. I'm that kind of guy. You know, last house I renovated. Last house I bought and renovated, my kitchen cost more than the house I live in now. I did things like I bought brushed steel light switches. You know, I had a Dyson Hoover to hoover the carpet. You know what I mean? Like all that sort of thing. And I'm not interested in that anymore. And I think there's a lot of people coming to Portugal who are also trying to get away from that. You know, like when you put the floorboards down, just whatever is the cheapest wood. It doesn't have to be like Nordic pine. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. So these houses are for people who are trying to escape all of that. Now you can renovate them, but I think you would have to be an extremely sort of disciplined. You'd have to be very disciplined. What do I mean by a disciplined renovator? There's no point here in a village like Travanca de Lagos doing a house up to the kind of standard that would be expected in LA or something, okay? No one's going to care about the carbon footprint of the house, you know, how fancy the doors are. You know, you go to Leroy Merlin, you buy the cheapest doors, right? You buy the cheapest door handles, you buy the cheapest windows. I'm not saying you want to make it look ugly, but you don't go overboard. Do you know what I mean? You don't go overboard with that type of thing. It's not going to add any value to the house, okay? So you'd have to be a very disciplined type of renovator. And as I say, you're better off just buying an empty shell, because you spend a lot of time, as we have in our house, ripping stuff out, you know, so like we've been replacing floors and that kind of thing. Where if your purpose is just to build it up and flip it or maybe rent it out, you don't really want to be wasting time or money doing that. Right, here again is another one. I can't remember what this one was on the market for. I think 23.5, something like that. It's really two houses. And as I say to you, with a house like this, guys, you could just go in and clean it up and live in it as it is now. So what we did, for example, with our house, we went to Leroy Merlin and bought a kitchen. I think it was 700 or 800 euro. We just bought the simplest kitchen, and me and my son put it together. It was just like putting IKEA furniture together. We did the worktop. It was all really easy. And I just can't get over the fact that in the last kitchen I bought before that cost more than my whole house, you know. So and obviously it looked nicer, you know. But yeah, we don't care about things like that. So there's a lot of people, you know, and I've mentioned the price of my house on some of the Facebook groups before. People go, oh yeah, but then how much did it cost to make it livable? And they're shocked when I say, well, to be honest with you, it costs about 1,500 euros to make it livable. You know, I said the other day on one of the forums, you know, we put a boiler before we moved in. There was no hot water, so we put a boiler in. Yeah, I didn't do that myself. You know, it's the royal we when I say we put a boiler in. Their local shop who does gas appliances put it in. So it was a hot water on demand boiler. It cost, I can't remember, something like 300 euros. And it included fitting. He went and put it in ourselves. All we had to do was knock a hole through the granite for the exhaust. That a friend helped me do that. Running the gas pipes up to the oven. A plumber friend of mine helped me do that in exchange for a couple of days helping him cut wood on his land. The electrics, again, we had what's called a building PowerPoint put in. EDP came in and put a meter in, and there's one plug run to that. So we've got a lights ring and a power ring, and that's absolutely fine for now. Sorting out all the electricity properly will be something we'll do in the future. And so this is, you know, a lot of people I know and a lot of people who are coming to Portugal can't imagine living like this. But if you come to central Portugal, I've seen people who are literally camping inside ruins, you know. Now, we haven't taken it to that extreme. But what I'm talking about is we're choosing a different kind of life, guys. So, for example, I don't want to have a mortgage. For me to have a mortgage, I would have to work more. And, you know, I'm at a point where I think, nah, I'd rather spend time keeping healthy. I'd rather spend time walking my dogs. I'd rather spend time with my sons. I'd rather spend time, you know, playing guitar, all this kind of thing. I'm very busy, and any more work will take away from my leisure. So I'm not interested. I'm not interested in making every wall in my house smooth. I'm not interested in having mahogany floorboards, you know. Our living room floor, we did it with the Portuguese way. We did it with the beam and block method, the concrete. So it's a concrete floor. The wooden floor we put up when we did our loft conversion by ourselves, which a lot of people are shocked about. We just watched YouTube videos, guys. It wasn't that difficult. That cost us, I think, in total, less than 2,000 euros for the wood and the nails and the nail gun and that kind of thing. So, you know, I don't want anyone imagining that we are experts in home renovations or anything like that. We're not interested in making money, and that's the thing you're always going to think of in these villages. There's definitely a ceiling. So what I mean is would be very easy to over-capitalize. So this is another house that I made a video on, guys. I think this was on for 30. Should be able to get it for 20. And again, this is another one where I say, look, you could easily go in here, do up one room for sleeping, do up the kitchen, another room for like a living room, and you could ignore the rest of the house. It's quite a big house, but you don't have to do it all up. Put a lock on the front door, and you've got a little apartment, haven't you? For what, 25,000 euros? I mean, this is what I'm talking about, guys. So this would also be suitable, I think, for people who are applying for visas. So maybe you could, just for an example, you could look at this as somewhere to live for a couple of years, and just slowly do it up. So what I'm trying to say to you guys, I'm just walking around the back of my house now. I'll show you mine. What I'm saying to you guys is, when I'm showing you these cheap houses, unless I say so, because there's been a few that I've shown that are good investment opportunities, and you can get in touch with me if you want to talk to me about those. But most of these budget houses, I'm really showing you guys, because I think they are a way into the property market in Portugal for people who, you know, maybe don't want a mortgage. Like I didn't want a mortgage. I also didn't want to pay a massive deposit. It's the back of my house, yeah, completely unrendered. And one day I'll get around to the rendering, or maybe I won't. You know what I mean? Because it's always going to be for me. If someone quotes me 2,000 for the rendering, I'm going to think 2,000. Maybe I'll, go on holiday for a week. Do you know what I mean? That's just how I look at it, guys. I'm over spending money on unnecessary stuff. So, yeah. So maybe getting a mortgage is difficult, or you just don't want a mortgage, or you just don't have much money. You know what I mean? If all you can scrape together is 20,000. And I mean, that was the other thing I found when I was looking at, say, Alcobaça. I could find houses out there, this kind of house that you could live in and slowly do up, but they were more like 80,000, let's say. And I thought, right, so I'm going to have to come up with all that money. I'm not going to have any money left to do anything. And they do need things doing. Don't get me wrong, you can't just move in. You are going to have to get the power on. You are going to have to get the plumbing on. You are going to have to put a boiler in. You are maybe going to have to put, if not a whole new bathroom, you're going to have to do something about the bathrooms. And you're going to have to do some tidying up. You know what I mean? It's not like you could just move in usually. You can occasionally, but usually you do have some such stuff to do. Like I say, buying a cheap kitchen from Leroy Merlin. So that would be the problem for me. I'd have used all my cash as a deposit, had a small mortgage, and then I'd have had no money. So yeah. So just walking down to my house now. Anyway, I think that was just all I wanted to say really about why I make these videos. So if you watch them and you're thinking, bah humbug, you'll never get a return on that investment, or by the time you've done that up, you're going to have spent as much as you would on a new house. You're kind of missing the point, guys. You're kind of missing the point. But anyway, I think might just quickly show you what I mean by this cheap Leroy Merlin kitchen. So, going through the front door, and as you can see, horrible traditional mismatched tiles. We don't care. The cheapest fridge and oven from Wharton, I think it was. Same with the washing machine. And this was just the cheapest kitchen from Leroy Merlin. And me and my son Christian, we knocked this together just the same way you do with IKEA stuff. It works. And it was meant to be happy. It's meant to be temporary. I mean, it's been here for 2 years now. Still works perfectly well. I didn't have any experience at putting in a kitchen. Neither did Christian. But we just did it, and that's it. Anyway, if you like this type of content and you're new around here, please consider subscribing. It really, really helps me out. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Muito obrigado, amigos. Ciao.